Less than 4 seconds, we're out. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very special, two special guests. I have two segments, part one and part two, a throwback, a special throwback to me of Karen Ford and Dr. Oris. Dr. Oris is Ukrainian, and Karen Ford has done wonderful things, real estate, learned from her mistakes, and all the great things that a real true entrepreneur does. Dr. O has his own radio station. And these two special guests need their recognition. And these two special guests are going to get their recognition through me talking for 1.5 minutes or 1 minute and 50 seconds, which I have 23 seconds left. I'll edit that. And I have to re-edit it using 1.5 seconds or minutes. So you tune in, make sure y'all watch it very carefully. Those were two special guests of mine that I adore. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a wonderful guest here. Her name is Karen Ford. We were speaking earlier, and I gave her some. We were talking, but it's kind of top secret. It's going to be a surprise for everybody out there listening. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Karen Ford, and I am a master financial coach. So if you have money problems, or maybe you don't have money problems, or if you have debt or you want to build wealth, I'm the one for you.
Okay, and tell the world about your past event that led to your present. Like, yes,
Well,
ma'am.
I'm actually a registered nurse. I haven't practiced as a registered nurse for a number of years because I got into the money related arena. And I know some listeners or viewers are thinking, how in the world did you go from a registered nurse to a master financial coach? I had a friend of mine actually tell me one day, Karen, you're really great with numbers. You're really good with money. I think you ought to get some more training. And so I did. And I fell in love with it. Now, again, you might be thinking, how did you do that from being a registered nurse? I love people. I love to help people. I want to see people get healthy. And as a nurse, I did help people get healthy physically. But as a master financial coach, I'm helping people get healthy financially and in turn, physically healthy as well. Because if you have money problems, that creates stress. It causes high blood pressure. It causes people to overeat. You become depressed when you have money issues and you don't see a way out. And then when you get depressed, maybe you overeat. Maybe you just don't see a way out. And I love to see people win with money. I want to see people win with money because it takes money to live, especially these days, right? I don't know where you
Yeah.
live, but gas prices, if you haven't noticed, have really
How much are
skyrocketed.
gas prices? How much are gas prices where you
It's
at, Miss Ford?
409 now, but every day it changes. It keeps going up every single day. How much is it where you are?
525.
Yeah, see, it's going to keep going up until something happens. We don't know what that something is or when it's going to happen, but I feel really bad for people that have a tight budget already. What are you doing with these gas prices? And you still have to go to work, or you have to take your kids to daycare, or you have to take your kids to school. I mean, it's really, we're living in some scary times here. And they could be scary, and especially if you have a tight budget already. And so I want to see people win with money. I want to see people get out of debt. I want to see people budget their money in a greater way so that you're not living hand to mouth or paycheck to paycheck, or you get paid today and it's already spent. And tomorrow you're thinking, oh, I got 2 more weeks before I get paid. That is no way to live. I really hate that for people. I want to see you win with money. I want to see you build wealth. I want to see you alleviate the stress in your life. And one way to alleviate stress is to help take control of your money. Take
Can
control of
you
your
tell
money.
me a little bit about you being a public speaker?
Certainly. Well, I started off coaching a number of years ago. I coach people worldwide. I've coached because I physically don't have to be in your presence to coach you. That's better. I enjoy face to face because I'm a people person, kneecap
Mm.
to kneecap. I enjoy that, but I've done it through Zoom. I've done it through FaceTime. I've done it through the old rotary dial phone. Uh, there's a number of ways to coach. I coach single people, I coach divorced people, I coach married couples. So, and I enjoy that. Um, One way to know if you need a coach is ask yourself this question: am I managing my money the best way I can? And if the answer is no, then you probably need a financial coach. Here's
Whether
another:
you're rich or poor, right?
whether you're rich or poor. That's exactly right. Because it doesn't really matter if you make $1 million a month, $500 a month. If you're not managing your money well, there's always a better way to manage it, whether you have a large income or a small income. So I enjoy coaching. And then as far as speaking engagements, I've spoken at college graduations, um, which was wonderful, women's conferences, church events, a wide array of things. And I just enjoy speaking, helping people. I mean, that's the name of the game,
Tell the
helping people.
world where you from.
I am from Fairmont, West Virginia. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So if you remember the name Mary Lou Retton, Mary
No.
Lou Retton, who won in 1979 or 1980 the gold medal in gymnastics, uh, she grew up in Fairmont, West Virginia. That's where I'm from.
Wow. I commend you. That is a beautiful place, man. I've been through the mountains there to get to because West Virginia is right here. Then you got Virginia. Then you got North Carolina, South
Yes.
Carolina. So yeah,
Oh,
I
it's
know
a beautiful
exactly
state.
where.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, right?
Can I ask you, is it a small rural town?
It is. We probably have a population of maybe 20,000, 22,000 here in Fairmont, but we're sandwiched between two larger cities, Morgantown, West Virginia, where West Virginia University is. And of course, when the university students are in, that's in excess of over 100,000 there in Morgantown, uh, especially on game day. And then, yeah. So yeah, it's a nice place. Fairmont is a blessed place. It really is.
I'm
So,
glad to know. Last SAT question before we move on. Who
okay.
is the governor in West Virginia?
I beg your pardon?
Who is the governor in West Virginia?
Jim Justice. And
I'm
he
gonna have to
owns the
look him up.
Greenbrier. The
Oh,
Greenbrier, it's real beautiful. It's a resort area. He owns that. Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
So you all of these things you do, you live in a West Virginia rural town and you're doing good for yourself. You're a registered nurse, coach, public speaker, author of books, right? You're an author
Yes.
of a book. We can
And
go on.
avid real estate investor.
Oh my God. We have to bring you
Real
back on my
estate
show.
is a money maker.
I believe it. I would jump up and go get my books out of the closet saying I'm going to study, but I'm in school right now, so I had to put that on hold. But it's a hard topic to study, but it's well worth it and it's really interesting to learn. You
It
know,
is.
you know the world, you know Monopoly, you know real estate, you're good. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
love real estate. I bought a
Um
property several
uh-huh.
years ago when I got into this. I've bought properties through a wide array of ways. You can always go through a real estate agent. You can go to an auction, when they're auctioning off houses, trying to get the highest bid. Um, Foreclosures. I've done all of that. And then there's my favorite is through the state auditor auction because every state has a state auditor office.
Mhm.
And what happens is if people don't pay their property taxes, their real estate taxes, the state auditor office will take ownership, and they have to get them off their books. So they'll auction them off. Well, the very first time I went to a state auditor auction, I bought a property sight unseen, which I don't advise, and I learned my lesson that day. But they started off the auction at $10. And I put my card up. I kind of knew the vicinity of this place, but I had not laid eyes on it. And I bid $10 and nobody bid against me, which would have and should have been a clue. So when I finally got the deed, I discovered that it was a mobile home that was padlocked and had a very large sign on it that said, "Do not enter. This is a meth house." So I thought, what in the world am I going to do with you?
Wow.
And so I posted it on Facebook on some yard sale sites because I thought, well, you can't live in it. You got to haul this thing away, but you would own the property that the mobile home was on. So I was just completely honest. I said, this is the place, this is for sale, but the mobile home is uninhabitable. You cannot live in it. It needs removed, but I'm selling it. And I sold that place and made money on it.
I love that.
Yeah, but I did learn my lesson after that. Always look and see the properties before you bid on them.
Cool. I love that story. You are such a wonderful person that wear many different hats. Where do we
Thank
see?
you.
Because I know we were talking about time. So where do we see you, Miss Ford? I don't want to take up your time in the
That's all right.
future.
In the future, I will be wealthier because I continue to invest in real estate. I continue to invest in the stock market. I will continue to coach people one-on-one, do some more public speaking, and when I'm ready, probably author another book or two.
Love it. That's the type of goals that I have. Just simple but good goals, I
Yes.
love it. Um, Definitely take care. Stay on the line, and thank y'all for watching. Y'all take Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a wonderful, wonderful guest. I look up to doctors, and I've had a couple of doctors on my show, but I haven't had this eccentric soul on my show yet. So, welcome, Dr. Or how do you pronounce your name? Let's get that started.
Oris is fine.
Yeah, let's stick with Oris. How are you doing, Dr. Oris?
I'm doing great. How about yourself today, Kimberly?
I'm doing great. So I wanted to talk about some things with you for a second. I wanted to talk about your past, present, and future. And let's start with your past as we dig into who you were as a person growing up and what did you do to get you to the present.
Well, as a person that growing up, I did not come from money. My parents immigrated from Ukraine, which is in the news quite a bit lately, and right after during World War II, at the end of World War II, and we grew up rather, paycheck to paycheck. My mother had her own business, and she worked very hard at it. She worked very, very hard at it. It was a coffee shop, and she put both me and my sister. She made sure that we had the best schools, and she made sure that we went to college, and we did, and ended up with careers. And that was kind of the thing. But it was never. It was always. We were always struggling financially when I was younger. There was never a time that I actually remember not struggling financially as a child. So that was always the case.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay. That's all right. It's all in the past.
It made you stronger though, and you're
Oh, yeah.
Ukrainian. You fought. You fought Tooth and nail.
Absolutely. So, and then I went on to school and went to college and eventually became a dentist and then became a periodontist and did periodontal regenerative surgery for about 33 years. And there was a point where it was time for me to leave because I was not interested in it anymore. And so now, consequently, I do a lot of time in the podcast space, and I also have a men's coaching program, and I also have a digital magazine that's available for free to everyone, and you can get it. You can go to the standard.academy/get magazine, and there's several articles in there that will kind of help you create a life that you want.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about what you do as a podcast.
As a podcaster, I like to talk about things that people are often kind of afraid or too embarrassed to talk about. And if you look at my topics, I go all over the place, and I have fun conversations with experts in various fields. And like I said, we talk about stuff that a lot of times people may be uncomfortable talking about. I spend a lot of time in the anti-aging medicine space. I talk about testosterone. I talk about menopause. I talk about erectile dysfunction, stem cells, all sorts of things that are out there to help you create a life. Talk a lot about relationships, and so interview several experts on relationships. And we cover a wide range of things: porn addiction, suicide conversation, end of life conversations.
Have you ever thought about being on TEDx? Is that your ultimate goal?
You know what? I haven't really. There was a time I thought about it, but
Me too.
It's faded into the background because of some other projects I have.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and you have. I believe a lot of times people take on too many projects, and so I think you need to stay within your own bandwidth, whatever it is, and it can be just. Maybe if you're real familiar with an area, you can do a lot of things in that area. But if you're not very familiar in that area, then you really can't really take on too many projects. You have to be really focused, and you have to be focused to create an excellent product.
I agree.
You can't be multitasking.
That's true. That is so true. I'll admit that, I'm a multitasker. It's a lot of entrepreneurs out here that's like multitaskers, you know what I mean? And but here's the thing, I learned, I put myself to the next level. When I'm doing something myself, like, I put myself to the next level every time. Like, I get better. I may not get better, like, super better, but every day, and for everybody out there listening, every day, you move forward, and even if you make a mistake, that was one mistake, it's a lesson, and all you have to do is correct it in the future. So
Sure.
I get where you're going. Can you tell me a little bit, because we have the time, about stem cell research or stem cells, what stem cells are?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting area. There's a lot of government restrictions going on about use, but basically what they're able to do is basically stem cells are basically able to regenerate. And I'm not a physician, so I'm not I don't know, but they're actually used to regenerate various the tissues in the body. And when you put them in a body, they seem to have a tendency to go to where sites are injured, and to basically help people regenerate things.
So that means you can regenerate, reverse the signs of brain cancer a little bit, because that's
No,
like,
not with that. That's more. It's more like soft tissues and things like that. But definitely
for now.
not. Yeah, definitely not. But not brain cancer.
I wish there was some way we can. That is an amazing journey, and that is amazing way that stem cells are able to regenerate tissue that is damaged.
Mhm. Yeah.
One last
And there's
thing. What about bone? Do it regenerate bone?
well, there's lots of ways to regenerate bone that doesn't involve stem cells. There's lots of ways that people can grow bone. We used to grow bone quite a bit when I was when I was a periodontist, and that was one of the things that we grafted a lot of bone and grew grafted bone around teeth and in the sinus to place implants and things like that. So bone grafting is actually has been around for quite a while, and it's actually pretty well established, I think, at this point. Pretty straightforward.
Cool, cool. And tell us about what you okay, you talk about in the present, and we talked about stem cell research. What I don't get though is, in my opinion, I want to piggyback off of what you said. Okay, so with brain cancer, with any type of cancer, it's a disease, and it's a cancer,
Right.
whether malignant or benign, it's a cancer. And if it's, I think benign, because I'm not like you, benign mean it's non-cancerous.
Correct. Yeah, benign is not a cancer.
Malignant,
It can be a growth, but it's not cancerous.
it's like a fungus. If you think about it, it's like some sort of fungus that you have to find a cure for to get rid of, pretty much, in my terms, because I know you know what I mean. So, I feel like, with that being said, stem cells is probably not out there yet because there's so many advances out here that's going to, like, in the future with stem cells, that the government is going to start distributing, such as stem cell research for cancer reversal, or like, maybe because you already said bone growth, you do that already. So just think about the advances that's going to be out there later.
Oh, yeah,
Have you heard?
there's lots of exciting things in medicine, and especially in the anti-aging space, in the regenerative space. So yeah, there's lots of stuff. Just, stem cells just have a very narrow use, and they're being actually restricted quite a bit by the government in terms of what they can be used for these days.
Okay. And where do you see yourself right now in the future?
Basically, at this point, working to help men figure out what they want, why they want something, and how to get it, and through my coaching program. And so that's really the biggest thing that I'm working on. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I can share I can share those mistakes with people, and helpfully by sharing them, I can help people avoid some of the pitfalls. And sometimes you have to have an audience that is interested in it, because if somebody does not want to be helped, you can't help them. Even if they want to be helped, there's a challenge that they're actually going to be successful. But if they don't want to be helped, you can't help someone. So you can't drag someone along.
I can agree with that. You can't, because it's when I was younger, I call it my young and dumb years. I didn't care what nobody said, because nobody, I wanted it was 50-50 with me, but you are right what you say, because 50-50 with me is I wanted to help, and then I didn't care about the help because I was so young at the time. But as I got older, I noticed that the more I used, the more I didn't care about anything but that drug. That drug is the devil. So I decided to take a path with God, because God is the only person that is keeping me alive right now. Not
Sure.
science, not nothing else. It's just God that's making me able to sit here stable and talk to you.
Sure.
How
Absolutely.
can they reach you, doctor?
Probably the easiest way is to get my magazine and go to the standard.academy/get magazine, because that kind of is the entryway to getting that stuff. And I think the magazine itself is I'm very excited. When I was first, when the idea was put together, put to me to do this magazine, I wasn't terribly excited. But once we started to see how it developed, I was actually very, very excited in terms of what we had as an end product. And that's probably the easiest way is to get through there. And then there's various ways to access um, me through that URL, through that website.
Okay, and just to talk a little bit about what I do, really quick, I do this exact same thing when it comes to that. So, I understand where you're coming from. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for joining my show. I just didn't want to take the rest of your time.
Oh, that's okay. No problem, Kimberly. I appreciate you having me on.
Okay. And big shout out to Ukraine out there. I hope that whatever y'all going through, I'm rooting for you, and I'm going to be on a little later to talk about exactly my thoughts on that coming up.
Wonderful.
Stay on the line. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kimberly.
Bye, y'all.
Bye bye.
Yes, everyone. So those two great, wonderful people those two great, wonderful people mean a lot to me, and they are duly noted in the fact that one of them is a registered nurse, which was Karen Ford, and she has been registered nurse for a while now, and she picked up where she left off. She started off from the bottom. She sat up there and she's a go-getter, all about money making, all about money, making money to be stable for retirement. Then we have Boris, Dr. O, I call him because I don't want to damage his name. And he speaks wonderful volumes about different wonderful topics, about topics that are taboo to us. And he stems from Ukraine, which Ukraine has to fight every day to remain free. And I just wanted to say that one day the whole world is going to be free of lies, of corruption, of everything, gain, corruptive gain, whatever the case may be. But I appreciate interviewing these two wonderful individuals. You all take care. You all be safe out there. And once again, thank you for allowing me to interview you guys. Take care. Bye.